just getting started. Looking in my rear view, ain't nobody in my way.
We the best.
We just getting started. Another one. We just getting started.
Let's win.
We just getting started. Looking in my rear view, ain't nobody in my way.
Hands up. Let's go. We the best. Everybody.
Well, it's been a fun first half. It's not quite over yet. The final series before the All-Star break. The first place Philadelphia Phillies are in town as we welcome you to Miami. Phils and Marlins first of three. Rhys Hoskins has some good numbers in his career against the Marlins. We'll see him in the Home Run Derby on Monday. And guess who's back on the Marlins side of things? Maybe a little weary with a newborn at home, but JT Realmuto is back, going to his first All-Star game. And he is back in the lineup tonight as these two teams open up the final series before the All-Star break. Paul Severino, Todd Hollinsworth. Well, we showed you 6 walk-offs from this first half of the season. 3 of them in the last 10 games. This team, the Marlins, have won 4 of the last 5 home series.
Well, they've found their competitive fire, their competitive edge at home. We've talked about this all season long. Find a way. They have found a way at home to play that competitive baseball, generally low scoring and, well, one-run ball games. Here's the challenge, though. The Phillies have been pretty good at one-run ball games this year. But again, they have been playing so good at home. They're in the position now where the game goes late. They expect to find a way to win.
Absolutely. They just took 2 out of 3 from a first-place team in the Milwaukee Brewers, and now another first-place team, albeit by a half game. The Philadelphia Phillies are in town. Phillies, some up, some down this year for sure, but one of their big offseason acquisitions goes tonight. Jake Arrieta, his worst start of the year was against the Marlins.
Well, it certainly was, and it was right here in this building. So again, the Marlins hitters are looking to do more of what they did in late April, early May against the Philadelphia Phillies, which was get to Jake Arrieta and put together good at-bats. And a lot of those good at-bats coming early in the count. Now, generally, we've talked about the Marlins and the ability to wear down pitchers, but against Arrieta, they've hit him particularly well, and a lot of those hits and swings were early in the count. We'll see where he's at tonight, but that's who the Marlins were in those 2 ball games. So a tremendous opportunity, again, to knock off a first-place team in the Philadelphia Phillies.
Well, one game at a time, and as we all say, it starts with starting pitching. And the starting pitching for Wei-Yin Chen at home has been a heck of a lot better, so we'll focus on that.
It's like a movie, Jekyll and Hyde, I think. I mean, look at the ERAs for Chen. Holy cow, 10.47 on the road. Well, thank goodness we're not on the road. We're here in Miami, 189. Really, I don't know really how to break it down into numbers, but I'll say this, he's a lot more confident here in Miami.
Well, this whole team is confident, especially with the 3 walk-offs in the last 10 games and 2 of them in the series against the Brewers. The guys have more on that on the other side of the break. first. It's back out to center field. Craig, Nelly, Tommy.
Thank you very much, Paul. The Marlins have had 3 walk-off wins in the last 11 days, 6 on the season. Exciting series against Milwaukee featuring a couple of walk-offs.
You know, it's great when you get the walk-offs from the unsung guys. Now, I don't want to say Castro's an unsung guy, but he provided one, and so did Brian Holiday in that series against Milwaukee.
Well, it's nice to see, you know, the bottom half of your lineup come through. You know, you're always going to have your top 3 when it counts. I mean, here's Castro gets a hanging breaking ball on Wednesday, and he hits the game winner, and this is when Cooper scored on Yelich. But when the bottom half of your lineup is coming through, that's a huge plus for them. And, you know, you hear Mattingly talk about, you know what, they're finding an identity. I think over the last 5 weeks, they know the ways they have to win. And it all starts with their starters, their starting pitching. But you have to believe that you can win as well. When the game is close and you have a group of guys that are coming together and they believe that, hey, you know what, when we walk in between the lines, we can win this game, you're going to wind up winning more than you lose. Also, I'm not saying this is an audition type year, but when you're going in the direction of, hey, we're trying to build consistency in the Marlins organization, okay, who wants to be a part of that? And that starts this year. You make 4 big trades with 4 big players. Who's those guys that we're going to tour? Who are those guys that we're going to take here in 2019, 2020 when we're trying to build a championship?
You know, one other guy who's made that audition pretty well, Yadiel Rivera has 2 walk-offs. Another role player.
You're right, and he's done a good job no matter where they put him, especially defensively. But, as Tommy mentioned, he's come up with some big hits as well. And the Marlins are using him now as their backup center fielder, and he's taking some action in left field as well. Hey, we've got game 1. Good matchup here. Phillies are hot. Marlins playing well. Game 1 of this NL East rivalry coming up next.
Southwest, transparency, low fares, nothing to hide. By WB Mason, who but WB Mason, the official office supply company of the Miami Marlins. By Chevrolet, see your South Florida dealer today. And by your local Toyota dealer, Toyota, let's go places. Roof closed tonight for the last series before the All-Star break. Gotta stay focused. The players, the broadcasters, everybody, stay focused. Then you can enjoy the 4 days off. Here is the Phillies starting lineup presented to you by Southwest. Cesar Hernandez at the top. Rhys Hoskins, who has missed some time this year with a broken jaw, albeit a little more than a week, in the lineup, hitting number 2. We showed you his numbers against the Marlins in his career. Carlos Santana, an offseason acquisition, has been cold as of late, hitting just .213 on the year. So getting set for baseball and for weigh-in, Chen. It is a home start, so expect good things. We showed you the home road splits before. Not great, we know that. But the bottom line is, let's see if he can keep going and keep doing what he's been doing here at home. This is his 15th start overall.
Yeah, nobody cares about the 6.14 ERA. We're certainly more interested in the 189. And that's right, it's his ERA in 6 starts here at Marlins Park. 33 innings. The one thing that really stands out, the number of home runs. On the road, he's given up 9 here at Marlins Park, too. So, listen, there's no doubt all sorts of confidence things going on here. He is happy to be pitching at Marlins Park. In fact, he expects results. Four-seam fastball, slider, curve, and change. That's the arsenal. He uses it to both sides of the plate. The changeup not nearly as much to the righties.
1-0 to Cesar Hernandez is in there for a called strike. Hernandez this year against the Marlins, 7 for 22, a home run, and a couple of RBIs in 6 games. And he takes low.
His career versus the Phillies, 1-3, 4.02 ERA. This is his 6th start against the Philadelphia Phillies. First in 2018.
Three and one now to Hernandez, leading things off for the Phillies, a team that's been rather busy as of late. They split a doubleheader on Monday against the New York Mets. And they split the 4-game series overall against the Mets. 2 of the games went to extra innings. Count full to Hernandez. And then they won a makeup game in Baltimore last night. They played, the game started a little after 6 o'clock after Wednesday night's game, a little after 7 o'clock. So 3rd night game in 3 cities in 3 days. Hernandez to deep center field. Maben a long way back, but will track it down for the first out of the night.
Well, we mentioned the home road splits, and I listen, that fly ball right there at about 402 feet to center field says it all. This is historical, people. Listen, 10.47 ERA on the road, 189 at home. If it ends this way, this is the biggest difference in the first half of a season all time. I mean, plus 8.5, 8.58. That's unheard of. Runs on the road compared to at home.
Rhys Hoskins takes a called strike. Hoskins 5 for 21 with 5 RBIs in 6 games this year against the Marlins, but in his career a .364 hitter. And he went around, 0-2. See that face guard on the left cheek of Hoskins. In recent weeks, he's actually had them on both sides. He fouled a pitch off, and it came up, hit him in the face toward the end of May. Broken jaw, missed a little more than a week, roughly 10 days, and is now back. And certainly, when going right, at 14 homers and 56 RBIs, a big part of this Phillies offense.
I'll tell you what, the Marlins very frustrated with Hoskins last year. He put up huge numbers in a small sample size, 8 homers, 24 RBIs. That came in 16 games last season. Now this year, 238. Done a much better job. Not only keeping him in the yard, but containing him. 24 RBIs, my goodness, in 16 games. Whew.
Well, I don't know how it's going to work and who's going to pitch to him, and if it's a friend or a brother or whatever, but perhaps they'll be wearing a Marlins jersey when he is in the home run derby on Monday, just to kind of get the blood going a little bit. Again, he is one of the 8 contestants in the home run derby on Monday night. And it's kind of funny. We saw it. We talked about it the other night. There's 8 players. 7 of them are in the National League.
Right.
Two balls and 2 strikes to Hoskins. In the air out toward left field. This is Cooper. And 2 fly ball outs here in the first.
Well, let's get you the Marlins defensively. for this evening's ball game. You saw Cooper out in left, making his third start of the season in left field. Maben in center, Anderson over in right, Prado, Riddle, Castro, and Bohr. JT, good to have him back behind the plate along with Chen on the mound.
So 2 up and 2 down for Chen. Into the windup and delivers a pitch outside to Trevor Plouffe, who is in his second game with the Philadelphia Phillies. Started the season at AAA Round Rock, a non-roster invitee of the Texas Rangers.
Well, if you're saying to yourself how and why, he's hitting 1,000, he's 1 for 1 on the season. He's got very good numbers against Chen in his career. I think that's why you find him in the 3 spot in the lineup. 4 for 16, 2 homers, 5 RBIs.
Drafted by the Twins back in 2004, and then once he got out of the contract with the Texas Rangers, a minor league deal with the Phillies. And with Lehigh Valley this year, 14 doubles, 11 home runs. And tonight, he's called out on strikes to end the first. Not a bad start for Chen, ending with a K. As we hurtle toward the All-Star break, but first, this 3-game series, Marlins up against the first place Philadelphia Phillies. The starting lineup, presented to you by Southwest, has Starlin Castro at the top, the hero the other night who has been swinging a hot bat the last 2 or 3 weeks. Brian Anderson hit second, and JT Realmuto back. And very happy, and everybody's healthy. He's trying his best to get some rest with a newborn in the house, but happy to report from the Realmuto household that everybody is doing fine, so that's good. Jake Arrieta, 18th start this year, a 3.47 ERA, 6 up and 6 down. A great month of May, a not so good month of June. We'll see what July holds as Starlin Castro digs in. And here comes the pitch from Arrieta on the first pitch. A little humpback liner to Kingery at short, 1 away.
Get you the AutoNation scouting report of Jake Arrieta for tonight's ball game. Just what Dr. J ordered. That's right. Well, he's been pretty impressive first half for Arrieta and the Phillies. Now, in 2017, had a 3.53 ERA with the Cubs on 168 innings, but he's on pace for nearly 200 innings this year. Of course, his ERA is at 3.47, so should be no complaining. You mentioned the bad month of June. That was standing. He's actually been outstanding. Now, bad memories. 2 starts versus the Marlins in 2018. Both came in April. 9.40 ERA. And the last one was his worst one right here at Marlins Park. 3 2/3 innings. That's right. 8 hits, 6 earned runs. Not good. Now the biggest difference between Arrieta this season and maybe last season are his road numbers. Huge gap here. 3-4 with a 4.64 ERA on the road. 8 starts, nearly 2 points higher than his earned run average at home. Hitters are hitting near 300 on the road.
2-1 now to Brian Anderson, who had a couple of hits on Wednesday against the Brewers. Was 6 for 14 in the series. 2 runs scored, a triple, a home run. He's got 7 on the year to go along with 46 RBIs.
Arrieta's arsenal: sinker, slider, curve, and change. Now he's throwing a sinker a lot more this season. Came in throwing about 44% of the time throughout his career. This season it's up to 57%. That slider kind of in that usual 20% range, and he's cut down on the curve and change. So he's a little bit more of a 2-pitch guy, although he does still use his other pitches.
Chop to Franco at third, and there are 2 away.
Well, here are the Philadelphia Phillies defensively behind Arrieta tonight. Hoskins getting the start in left field. Altair in center, Plouffe over in right, Franco, Kingery, Hernandez, Santana over at first. Alfaro had a big day offensively yesterday in Baltimore behind the plate.
Speaking of big days behind the plate, as we get a look at first-year manager Gabe Kapler, JT Realmuto back for the Marlins. A career-high 5 hits the last time we saw him on Sunday. And over the course of his last 12 games, hitting a shade under 400. And found out on Sunday that he was going to be an all-star. That was on the way back from Washington, D.C. So for the first time here at Marlins Park, announced before the game as all-star JT Realmuto. So it's, as he said to me before the game, it's been a big week. First all-star selection, and beautiful daughter at home.
Well, everything going right for JT right now. He's producing at the plate, producing behind the plate. The team is winning. He's winning at home. His family is growing. All is well in JT's life, and he will be going to that all-star game here in a few days.
And of course, we love JT, but I mean, thanks to him, Brian Holiday had a great series. Fortunately, you didn't really miss JT that much, and of course I mean that in a very complimentary way to Brian Holiday.
Well, and Holiday's done a fantastic job, but that's what good teammates do. That's what good teams do. Get that opportunity, you know your role.
A walk-off hit on Monday.
Great,
3-2 pitch from Arrieta. In the air toward right field. And that's Trevor Plouffe. Both pitchers 3 up and 3 down in the first. Scoreless.
25th anniversary of the legendary movie The Sandlot on Sunday, July 15th. Receive a Ham Porter bobblehead powered by South Florida Ford. Purchase a VIP ticket package and you're going to receive a limited Squints bobblehead. Purchase your tickets today at marlins.com/sandlot.
That's a big day. That is a big day. 25 years, one of the best baseball movies out there. A couple of different bobbleheads for you on Sunday, but first, got to get through the first 2 games of this series against the Phillies. Carlos Santana to lead things off against Wei-Yin Chen, and he takes little up, little away. A ball and no strikes for Santana. Then Scott Kingery and Jorge Alfaro.
Well, Santana's had a bit of a, I'll call it a bizarre July. I'll tell you here in a second.
Backhand play by Riddle. And a throw right on the money, one away.
Yeah, no surprise there. Santana struggling with the bat, hitting only 143 going into that at bat in July, but he's got a 354 on base percentage. He's walking a ton this month. Now he's known for the walks, but ground out to start this second inning.
Here's Scott Kingery. 3 for 17 this year against the Marlins. Does have 4 home runs and 26 RBIs. Kind of been handed that shortstop role. Offers at the first pitch and fouls it back. Of course, this was the guy that signed that big contract in the offseason, or in the spring, as it were. 6 years, $24 million. Most guaranteed money ever for an amateur drafted player who had never even gotten a cup of coffee in the big leagues. This one past Riddle, and there's a base hit.
Well, Kingery continues his hot hitting over the last 24 hours or so. Did have 3 hits yesterday in Baltimore. Short compact swing, almost lost his helmet. First hit of the night for the Philadelphia Phillies. Yeah, it's an interesting one. You know, you've heard the Philadelphia Phillies linked to Manny Machado. Part of that's because the starting shortstops for the Phillies this season, 3rd worst OPS in Major League Baseball at 620.
Well, their shortstop tonight is aboard for Jorge Alfaro, the Phillies backstop. 8 for 18, couple of home runs in the matchup, the first 6 games between these 2 teams. They have split the first 6 games. Phillies won 2 out of 3 in Philadelphia in early April. Late April, early May. Marlins took 2 out of 3. Of course, the run differential between these 2 teams is a bit skewed because of that one blowout win that the Phillies had. But all in all, 3 up and 3 down for both teams. A line drive, base hit, left field. Kingery will stay put at second base. Back to back knocks through the left side for the Phillies.
Now that combination worked in Baltimore yesterday. See this pitch up just a bit. Alfaro had a long home run, his 6th of the season yesterday, 3 hits as well. Kapler stacked him in the lineup. Alfaro was hitting 9th yesterday, way up to the 6th spot today.
Two on, 1 out for Maikel Franco. See if Chen can wiggle himself out of this little trouble. 2 on, 1 out. First pitch swinging for Franco out to center field. There is Maben. That fly ball will certainly go a long way into helping Chen.
Well, a sigh of relief for Chen and certainly for the Marlins. Franco, 13 RBIs in his first 6 games against the Marlins this season. First pitch swinging. The hotter bats in this Phillies lineup.
Two on, 2 out for Aaron Altair. 4 for 19, a home run, 5 RBIs against the Marlins this year. This road trip for the Phillies, just 1 for 10 in 7 games. He gets the start in center field today. Odubel Herrera a day off.
see the numbers on the season. Only 169 batting average, 6 homers, 32 RBIs. Nobody on base. Altair's hitting 125, but he has been so dangerous in this spot here. Runners in scoring position, 309.
There's a base hit into left field. Kingery will score. To third goes Alfaro. And we'll have to update those numbers, which will go a little bit further above 300. Altair, with his 8th double, gives the Phillies a 1-0 lead.
Well, almost to the same spot. Feels exactly like the same pitch that we saw Alfaro rip into left field. Altair all over it. Thigh high, inner third. His first time through, I'll tell you what, the Philadelphia Phillies have showed up ready to swing the bats. We're seeing all sorts of exit velocity.
So here's the pitcher, Jake Arrieta. Guy who can swing the bat. Won a Silver Slugger a couple of years ago. Takes inside, a ball and no strikes. 1 for 2 this year. This season he's got 5 hits in 28 at-bats.
6 of the 8 balls put in play. Exit velocity above 95.
Jake likes hitting here. 4 for 7 in 3 games. Really looks like a lumberjack, man, with the beard. He's a pitcher. He's got no batting gloves.
He has lobbied for pitchers in the home run derby. I do remember that a couple of seasons ago, and I've seen him take batting practice many times. He should be part of that if they do in fact do it.
It's very likely that I am just a wuss, but I'm not telling this guy no to anything.
He hit a ball, I think it was a couple of seasons ago. My goodness, I believe it was the longest home run in baseball for a short period of time. It came early. I believe it was in Arizona a couple of seasons ago. It was 440 plus to dead center.
He's got 6 homers in his career. Although the Phillies didn't sign him this offseason for his hitting prowess. I think that's pretty fair to say. Two balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. And the pitch from Chen. In there for a called strike 3. A run comes in for the Phils, who lead it 1-0. reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Miami Marlins. Well, those kids hoping to see some hits from Miami, and they have certainly come in bunches for this team. Just looking at 4-game spans throughout the year, the last 4 games the Marlins have played, so that's the 3-game series against Milwaukee and Sunday against the Nationals, 52 hits. No shortage of knocks for the Marlins as of late. And that has turned into 3 wins in those 4 games. So they'll look to keep it going and get something started against Jake Arrieta. Justin Bour takes low and away. Ball 1. Bour, Martin Prado, and Garrett Cooper. Sorry, Hal.
No worries. For the Marlins, it's what it's been in July. The offense has just been on fire, averaging 5.5 runs a game. Got some outstanding numbers. I showed you the hits. I mean, this is their slash line. They got a 762 OPS in the month of July. 283, 354, 409. That's doable at this ballpark.
Hitters count for Bour up 2-0. Take strike 1.
One of the few changeups you'll see out of the hand of Arrieta. Doesn't throw many. Just threw one there, and the hitters count.
Tries that outside corner again. Now 3 balls and strike to JB, who's got 15 homers on the season. This is a line drive and a base hit into center field. There's the first hit of the night for the Marlins.
A good swing of the bat. Good at bat by JB altogether. Got himself, well, the best pitch of the at bat showed up right there. Sinker, split the plate, lined it into center field, up just a bit. A little bit more run than sink. Good start to this 2nd inning. Lefty's hitting 255 against Arrieta, 4 home runs. Righty's 249, so no real advantage, lefty or righty.
Outside to Martin Prado, who has more home runs and RBIs against the Phillies than any other opponent throughout his career. This year, though, just 2 for 12, but 17 homers and 74 RBIs against the Phils. It's a called strike at the top of the zone, 1-1. And 152 hits to go along with the numbers I just mentioned as well. Of course, a lot of time with the Atlanta Braves and the Marlins. Spent a lot of time in the National League East. Martin was 1 for 5 on Wednesday with a run scored. 3 for 11 in the series against the Brewers. On the ground to Kingery. Prado is doubled up.
Well, it is one thing that Jake Arrieta has been doing a much better job of this season than last, is getting the ball on the ground. In fact, this entire Philly staff has been doing it in the month of July. A lot more ground outs, which is leading the way. Arrieta in a lot of ways is beginning his results through bad contact or contact on the ground, more so than the strikeout. I know the numbers certainly are down this season, the strikeout total. Part of that is that hitters are being much more aggressive early in the count, but that aggressiveness is leading to a lot more ground balls. As I mentioned, throwing his cutter 57, or excuse me, his sinker 57% of the time.
Inside to Garrett Cooper, 2 balls and no strikes. Cooper got a hit as came in late in the ball game, got a hit late and scored the winning run on Wednesday night. It's on second base when Starlin Castro got a base hit through the left side, came around third and scored the game-winning run as the Marlins took 2 out of 3 from the Brewers. And their 2 wins, both walk-offs. 2-2. Cooper gets the start tonight. As the Marlins have a bit of a rotation going with their outfield. Cooper kind of bouncing between left, maybe a little bit of first. Eric Dietrich in and out. And some news on Lewis Brinson today. Speaking of outfielders, it is a hip bone bruise, and there's going to be a little bit of rest until he is asymptomatic. So it sounds like it might be a couple of weeks for Lewis Brinson before he's back. So Cameron Maybin will continue to patrol center field. Maybe a little Yadiel Rivera out there as the Marlins mix and match their outfield with Brinson on the DL. Three balls and 2 strikes to Garrett Cooper. That's the first strikeout of the night for Jake Arrieta. Got a double play in the inning. 1-0 Phillies. Top of the 3rd inning. Time for the Toyota Inside Look. A year ago this time, they were 29-58 in last place. This year, 52-40, a half game up on the Atlanta Braves in the National League East. Top of the order due up, Cesar Hernandez, Rhys Hoskins, and Trevor Plouffe. So a lot has changed with the Phillies in 1 calendar year. And I do recall we were in Philadelphia for their opening day. And poor Gabe Kapler, who has clearly righted both the ship of the Phillies and his own ship. The Phillies fans know this. On opening day, he was booed when he was introduced. There was some talk that first week that he might not even make it to opening day at Citizens Bank Park. As Hernandez gets a base hit into left field. And he'll take a turn around first base. Here comes the throw. Got him. Cooper with the throw from left, and Castro with the acrobatic tag to find Hernandez for the first out of the inning. Clearly out at second base. I think Hernandez got himself out by having his foot stick right there.
Definitely put his spike into the air, kind of running right into the tag of Castro.
Here's Rhys Hoskins. Anyway, you remember that? I mean, we were joking, like, I wonder who's going to get announced as the manager. And it was Gabe Kapler, and he's still here.
Well, he's not only that, he's got his players believing it's an objective to win at home. They've got the best home record in the National League. They're 30-16. I mean, not only has he been able to flip the script, it's really, asking questions about other phases of the team, as far as holding on to first place. It's not winning at home. I mean, they're 14 games over. You see the record there. A lot of things that kind of explain it. I think it's so interesting. They've got a run differential currently of +20, which isn't much, but for a first place team, it's not really saying a whole lot. It's the smallest differential among first place teams in all of baseball, yet they're 12 games over 500. So how do you explain that? Well, they've got the best record in one-run games. 20-8. There you go. National League.
A half game up on the Atlanta Braves.
Here's the other thing that stands out. They're 17-19 in this division. Is that sustainable? I don't know. I don't think it is, but we'll find out.
Hoskins works the walk, 1 on, 1 out. Well, I guess the moral of the story, at least piggybacking off the graphic that we saw, and how much this team has changed in a year. Is that all Gabe Kapler? I don't really know, but the bottom line is I'm sure that the Philadelphia Phillies faithful are very happy with how things have gone.
Well, it is if it's a pitching conversation, because the pitching's been off the charts, and that's really what you target. Other phases of this team are not succeeding at nearly that heightened level. I mean, this team is in first place, and that's the responsibility of the manager and the coaches. But my point is how do you add up the change that we've seen going back to last year? They've got the best pitching. That's just it. This staff has been lights out. Arrieta has been a tremendous addition. He's done good work, although he did have a rough June. But he had a May in which he had a .9. So, there's a lot of different ways looking at it. Nola is pitching like maybe the best right-hander in the National League right now. And they've got a staff and a bullpen that are getting it done. Defensively, they're, mid to lower third of the league. There's things there that just don't necessarily lend themselves to winning, but there's no debating the pitching.
Trevor Plouffe rips one into the seats down the left field line.
Well, for Chen, this second time through, he is going to have to find a way to get the ball down. We've seen in the second inning elevated fastballs that have led to hard contact.
Well, for Chen this year, it's been the changeup, curveball. Those when those get hung, those get. And you could say this, I'm sure, about a lot of pitchers, but when they get left up, they get hammered. And you mentioned it last half inning, or last inning that he pitched. The exit velocity is just that first trip through.
Yeah, well, listen, 7 of 8, 95 plus, but again, up at the top of the zone, and particularly to the right-handed side. The right-handed hitters. That's where he's got to be so careful. 9 of the 11 home runs he's given up this year have been to the righties. In all 3 of his secondary pitches, batting averages above .320 on all 3 of those pitches by the right-handed hitters.
But he strikes out Plouffe.
The best changeup of the night. 85 miles an hour. Lower third. Well done. This ball's in play. It's on the ground. He's either picking up the strikeout or a shot at a double play if there's any contact.
Second time that he struck out Plouffe tonight. 2 of his 3 strikeouts. And here is Carlos Santana. Inside, ball 1. Santana grounded out to shortstop to lead off the second inning. As we talk about how this team has changed in the last calendar year, the offseason signing of tonight's starter, Jake Arrieta, and this man, Carlos Santana, certainly going a long way to further take the next steps in the rebuild in Philadelphia. They have certainly been rumored to be in on some of the big trade targets. A guy named Manny Machado being one of them. I think there's 30 teams. Well, maybe not. 29 teams, because it sounds like the Orioles are ready to part ways. But so many teams in on Machado. And the Phillies certainly one of them. And even coming into this year, you start to think, well, you know, they got Santana and they got Arrieta and they've got very little money on the books. They might be active in the offseason. Well, here we are approaching the trade deadline. They're in first place, and Kapler's team may be adding some big pieces in the next few weeks.
Yeah. They need some offensive players, or maybe I should say it this way. They need some offense. I mean, that's what's got to find a way to be more consistent. They have struggled that way. How about numbers in July for the entire team? 682 OPS, 238 batting average, 324 on base percentage. But the point is, they're 8-3. So the pitching's doing their part, but the offense could possibly do more.
Pitching coach Rick Kranitz. As Santana fouls it back to the screen. Still 2 balls and 2 strikes. This will be pitch number 50 for Wei Yin Chen. And the count runs full. A head start for Hoskins over at first. Scott Kingery, who had a base hit in his first at bat, is on deck. Runner is off. Here's the 3-2 pitch. A fly ball into right field. Anderson coming over. Bohr out, and Bohr makes the catch. How about that? Over his shoulder. Anderson, Bohr, and Castro all in the vicinity, but the only guy close enough makes the play. JB with the hand-eye coordination.
Back in the lineup, he was watching games closely, including Brian Holiday's big hit Monday night. About your defense too, and I'm sure JT is watching back there as he is awaiting the birth of his child, and he's watching, and I'm sure he's rooting for you too.
Yeah, that might have pushed her through. Maybe that gave her the last little bit she needed to get that baby out.
You know what's funny is when he said that comment, she was still in labor. She was still trying to push. I was like, babe, Holiday said you got that walk-off hit so you can push a little harder here. You know, he was trying to, but.
Hey guys, JT said he did not miss an inning. Everything worked out fine, and Lexi delivered beautiful Gracie on Tuesday morning just before 8 o'clock. And it's been a great week, as you mentioned earlier, for JT Realmuto. Nothing better, of course, than the birth of his first child. By the way, he told us his wife is going to be making her way up to the All-Star game. We'll see.
Wow.
We'll have some fun. Thanks, take it away.
Oh, thank you so much, Craig. Yeah, a big week in the Realmuto household.
Congratulations to the Realmutos. It's their first child. That's a big one. Boy, oh boy, I remember those days. Tell you what, you got to time things out. Lexi knows she was on a clock, and JT was listen, honey, got a game on Friday, so
let's just kind of speed this thing up a little bit. I know you're trying hard and everything else.
It's the life of a baseball wife, and she certainly knows it. She's doing a great job, and the Realmutos, JT's got an All-Star game to plan for too.
Absolutely, yeah. Unfortunately, he didn't have to eat. I found this out today. Some of that hospital food is not always the best. He said, fortunately, we had some family around, so the family was able to bring us some food. We didn't have to eat what the hospital was kind enough to bring up, which is not always the most appetizing sometimes. Cameron Maben with a one-out base hit. Now, Maben's got a hit in now 7 of his last 9 starts. A line drive.
Yeah, what off day? It's all right. Just hit the first pitch I see. Line it into left field. Well, no surprise there. Now, 62 of the 91 hits Jake Arrieta has given up this year have come on the first 3 pitches of a sequence. I expect this Marlins team to be pretty aggressive, especially if he starts to make mistakes out over the plate. A lot of times those mistakes come early.
So Wei-Yin Chen, 3 for 21 on the season. And Maben picked off a first. That was a throw that kind of took Santana right to the backside of Maben for the second out of the inning.
That's exactly right. This was a little bit inside that baseline, right? It was not as if Arrieta was trying to throw to the bag or to where Santana is. In fact, throws it more towards where Maben was. Able to tag him on the backside.
Here's the 1-0 now to Chen. Swings and fouls it off.
Well, that's one thing that's changed for Arrieta this season now that he's changed organization. Remember when he was with the Cubs, stolen bases were always a hot topic of conversation. In fact, his 4 years with the Cubs, 93 stolen bases allowed. So no doubt, I think Cameron Maben was thinking about going, as the Marlins have been a lot more aggressive over the last week or so on the bases as well. But the point is this: Arrieta has controlled the running game this year. He's done a much better job of keeping things in check, along with Alfaro behind the plate. Only 4 stolen bases allowed this season. Base runners 4 for 8.
Chen fouls it off to stay alive. Chen got a bloop single off of Max Scherzer in the 5th inning. His last time out was his 4th career hit. Now trying to get a base hit against another former Cy Young winner. Taps it right back to Arrieta. And the throw to Santana to retire the side. Through 3. 1-0. Wei-Yin Chen will face 5, 6, and 7 for the Phils. Sunday on Fox, Pogba, Mbappe, and France take on Luka Modric and Croatia in the FIFA World Cup final. Coverage begins at 10 a.m. Eastern on Fox, or you can stream it live on the Fox Sports app. Coming up tomorrow, Craig Minervini, Jeff Nelson, and Tommy Hutton. All part of the South Florida Honda Dealers Marlins Live pregame show. It is Nicaraguan Heritage Day, and it'll be Aaron Nola against Trevor Richards. You see there on the right side of your screen. Note the start time. Marlins Live on at 3:30 for a first pitch a little after 4 o'clock tomorrow in the middle game of this 3-game series before both teams disperse 50 or 60 different ways and enjoy a few days off for the All-Star break. Don Mattingly said before the game today, when asked about it, that yes, he did talk to the team just to remind them the All-Star break starts Sunday afternoon and not this series. I mean, you've played a dozen years in the big leagues. There's always kind of that you know, that senioritis, as they say in high school. You're getting ready for summer vacation, you're getting ready for college. To stay focused this last week or so.
Yeah, I always found that the challenging part was on the road more than it was at home. At home, it was the idea that, you know what, yeah, there's work to be done. There's certainly something to accomplish in the next 3 days. And I think that will be the case for the Marlins. I just thought that potentially, and we'll see how the series unfolds, but for the Philadelphia Phillies, it could be a setup game. You know, setup series, even, if you will, right? So they know the All-Star break's right around the corner, and they're anxiously trying to get there just like everybody else in Major League Baseball. But series to be played here in Miami.
Ball and a strike to Scott Kingery, who singled and scored in the second. Then it's Jorge Alfaro and Maikel Franco here in inning number 4. Yeah, there was some talk around the Brewers, who were just in town, that maybe, you know, a first place team in the Brewers against a last place team in the Marlins, that maybe was that same sort of thing, kind of a trap series, and a hard fought series in which, you know, the Marlins of course won twice by walk-off, and then a 5-game series for the Brewers. So they had a lot to stay focused on, as this one will reach the seats on the right side.
Well, and again, if you look at the Marlins right over the top and you look at their current record at 39 and 56, you say, oh well, wait a minute, we're supposed to go in there and beat those guys. But lost in all of that since June 5th is a team that's 19 and 17, playing pretty good baseball, winners of 3 straight home series, winners of 4 of 5 series, and competing with just about anybody and everybody in baseball right now, playing that kind of game. Early on in April, yeah, there were a lot more games that felt a little bit more like 8-2, 8-3. That's not the case any longer. Slider there to the outside corner for out number 1 here in the 4th inning. Point being, this Marlins team is playing their brand of baseball and is translating into wins. Nice job bringing that back to the outside corner.
4th strikeout of the night for Wei-Yin Chen. Yeah, I mean, you can't get the games back, right? But this team did start 5 and 17. Since then, they're just 5 games under 500. That's a big stretch, but as Holly mentioned, over the shorter term, this team has been playing very good baseball. And listen, whatever happens the rest of the way, to sit here and say that they can still get into the playoff race, sure, we're hopeful about it. But the bottom line is this: if they continue to play this way, whether they as a team are in the race or not, they will affect the race, especially in the National League East, because they're going to see a ton of National League East teams in the second half of the season.
That's why I actually brought that point up about the Philadelphia Phillies, who are the first place Phillies, 17 and 19 in the National League East. Atlanta Braves are the ones way out in front when it comes to divisional records.
Strike on the outside corner to Alfaro, who singled in the second inning. Well, for Wei-Yin Chen, this next offering will be number 60, with 1 out here in the 4th inning. They'll wiggle around some further trouble in the second, left a couple of runners aboard. And back-to-back strikeouts here in the fourth. He dots the inside corner.
Yeah, what a masterful job by Chen. My goodness. Once again, saw the slider pitch before, come back and just catch enough of the outside corner, puts it in the back of Alfaro's mind. What's he do? He races him to the inside corner at 93. Yeah, this is vintage Chen when he's at his best here at Marlins Park. Kind of see the confidence rising here this second time through the lineup.
Some off of that one as Maikel Franco swings and misses.
4 of the 5 strikeouts have been looking. Careful of Franco. He's got numbers against Chen in his career. He's the one guy in the lineup for me. I know he's in the 7th spot in the lineup. And comes in hot. 371 in the month of July. A couple of home runs, 7 RBIs. Comes in with history here in 2018 against the Marlins. We mentioned the number of RBIs and big hits he's driven in already. Versus Chen in his career, 7 for 17 with 2 homers and 6 RBIs.
Two 1 from Chen is popped up. Shallow center. Drifting out is Riddle. And he'll make the play. Frustrated Franco. 1, 2, 3, 4 for Chen. Florida is brought to you by Southwest. Transparency, low fares, nothing to hide. By Cleveland Clinic. Come out and join us for our community grand opening event on July 21st from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. For more information, visit clevelandclinic.org/Coral Springs. And by Publix, where shopping is a pleasure. Lewis Brinson out meeting some fans prior to today's game as they walked into Marlins Park. Brinson still on the disabled list. Again, sounds like it'll be a couple of weeks with that hip bone bruise. So a lot of rest and rehab. Of course, legs such a big part of Brinson's game, especially on the defensive side of things. Starlin Castro on a hop to Kingery. 1 up, 1 down here in the fourth. I'll bring up Brian Anderson, who grounded out to Maikel Franco back in the first inning. 105 hits so far this season for Brian Anderson, most by a rookie since Corey Seager had 105 in 2016. Pitch from Arrieta down the right field line and foul. You see Castro and Anderson and Dietrich all on the list. The Florida Lottery in-game jackpot most hits against righties, so 76 of the 105 against right-handed pitchers. In fact, Anderson's the only Marlins rookie with 100 or more hits prior to the All-Star break.
No surprise there. We certainly have learned from Brian Anderson about his approach, what he likes to do, what he does with 2 strikes. Most of it plays to the strength of an offensive player here at Marlins Park, which has used the big part of this field, center field on over to right. It's a pretty good example. I mean, certainly he could be more of a pull hitter if he so, if he was so choosing to be that. We've seen him turn on velocity with no problem, but you can clearly tell it's his mindset. Stay inside the baseball.
1-2.
StatCast powered by AWS shows the distribution of balls in play on the infield off the bat of Anderson and right into one of those big pie slices for out number 2.
See sometimes when the swing gets out and around, it yields to a ground ball, where if you stay in and keep that bat level, and we've seen so many of these off the bat of Brian Anderson, line drives to center field or to right.
Two down for JT Realmuto, who flew out to Trevor Plouffe to end the first inning. Takes a ball off the outside edge for ball 1. 0 for 1, as I mentioned, but the average up to 316 for JT. If you look at catchers around baseball, I'm sure we have certainly beat the dead horse on this one, but has put together a terrific month, or terrific first half of the season, I should say, just in terms of how he has put numbers up as a catcher. He's first in runs and hits and doubles and extra base hits. He's second in RBIs and on base percentage. Oh, and he's tied for second in triples and home runs. In case anybody was confused as to why he's going to Washington, D.C. for the All-Star game. 3-1. And the count now full.
3-2.
Two of the better defensive catchers in the National League. Alfaro certainly catching attention around the game for some of the things he can do behind home plate, along with JT. A couple of the best arms, a couple of the highest pop times. In fact, when it comes to catcher's arm speed, Alfaro is actually out in front of everybody in the National League at 90.9. JT Realmuto fourth at 87.6.
And Kingery will be tested for all 3 outs in the inning. A 1-2-3 fourth for Jake Arrieta. with you. First of 3 between these two teams, and the last series before the All-Star break. Downstairs to Craig Minervini.
All right, thank you very much. We're with Guitars Over Guns, one of the Marlins charity partners. This is Jono Jakari here, an alumnus. Jono's the CEO, and I know you got a nice check here from the Marlins today. What does it mean for your group?
I mean, it's tremendous to have the support of an incredible organization like the Marlins, and it's going to keep us reaching more kids throughout Miami and empowering them through music and mentorship.
What is Guitars Over Guns, Jono?
So we are an organization that believes in the power of youth, and we believe that mentorship and music can help to unlock all the great potential that lies within our kids.
Nothing like that. Jakari, you went through the program. You're an alumnus now. What did it mean for you?
It meant a lot, like being around a set of people that really cared and really wanted you to grow as a person is really special.
Did you pick up either music or something in the arts?
Yes, I'm currently a rapper, so, you know, yeah.
You're a rapper?
Yeah.
Anything we've heard yet? Not yet.
I do have a song with Elston Torres, 2-time Grammy nominee, you know.
Nice going. That's great stuff. Music is special, and really anyone can get involved in music, right? How do people get involved?
Well, they can find us on all social media at Guitars Over Guns, guitarsoverguns.org. And if you're here at the game, stick around fifth base afterwards. Our alumni band, Unistique, is going to be playing for a full hour at fifth base after the game.
Well, congratulations. Nice job there.
Thank you, Craig.
Fun day at the park for Guitars Over Guns. And how about that check, guys? That's the best part of all.
No question about it, Craig. And guys, we certainly do appreciate it. Yes, very good things within the community that the Marlins are involved with. One away here in the 5th inning. As another strikeout for Wei Yin Chen. That makes 6 as he retires Altair, and now Arrieta.
Chen has been absolutely fantastic here this second time through, especially working the low zone with the target. JT where he's setting up. I mean, Chen is hitting the glove almost consistently with all 4 of his pitches right now. We're seeing a first pitch breaking ball at times, but he's got these Phillies off their game.
Strike on the edge, 0-2 to Jake Arrieta. And a called strike 3, back-to-back strikeouts for the second consecutive inning. That's now 7 for Chen. It's time now for This Day in Marlins History, presented to you by Geico. A 9-3 win for the Marlins over the Phillies in 1997. Gary Sheffield, 2 fourth-inning home runs. An 8-run frame. Solo home run against Mark Leiter, and a 3-run blast off of Reggie Harris for Sheff. Darren Dalton was 0-4 that day. 8 days later, if you can't beat him, join him. He was traded to the Marlins. Leadoff hitter and second baseman Cesar Hernandez takes a strike.
Now for Chen, second time through the lineup, 1 for 8. Phillies were against him. A walk, 5 Ks, 40 total pitches. Dominant stuff. First time through, we were talking exit velocity. Now we're talking swings and misses.
Look out.
You look at the degree of uncertainty that I'm seeing from these Phillies right now. It just speaks to where Chen is at.
One thing they are certain of, hit it that way.
He's like, I can't see the ball. It's stealth right now.
Comes the 1-2 pitch in there for a called strike 3. He strikes out the side in the 5th. An impressive inning for Wei Yin Chen. First Altair, then Arrieta, and then Hernandez. As we go to the bottom of the fifth inning, time for the Chevrolet Prospect Spotlight. Brian Miller hitting .324 thanks in part to an 8-game hit streak where he's hitting .429. He's got hits in 63 of 83 games. A competitive balance pick in 2017, playing for the Jacksonville Jumbo Shrimp, who beat Biloxi yesterday 4-3. Isan Diaz, his 8th home run of the season. And Monte Harrison, his 12th home run of the season.
As we move to the bottom of the fifth, I'll tell you, these two starters have been doing it a little bit different, but yet the same, both getting outs. Chen, he's striking everybody out. Jake Arrieta, he's getting tons of ground outs, 7 of them already. We start the bottom of the fifth. Chen struck out the side in the top of the fifth inning, 5 of the last 6. Jake Arrieta's last 3 outs, in fact, the 4th inning, all made by Kingery at short.
Well, Kingery right now is playing right around the second base where the second baseman normally plays. You see Franco kind of moving around. You'll notice the shift for the Phillies, and this was certainly a headline back a few weeks ago as Justin Bour works the leadoff walk. Arrieta, who certainly has earned his right to be a bit vocal, was just that on defensive shifts. So he homered and scored the only run in a series in which the Phillies played the Giants back in June. He allowed 5 straight hits in the 6th inning of his start. One of them was against the shift. So he said afterwards, quote, "We're the worst in the league with the shifts, so we need to change that. Use your eyes, make an adjustment, and be better. We need some accountability all the way around, everybody, top to bottom. We need to have an accountability check." So why did they sign Jake Arrieta? Twofold. 1, still a heck of a pitcher, and 2, that tenacity, that leadership, which there in San Francisco was on display.
Well, that's the way they've gotten it done so far in the first half. Lots of pitching.
5-4-3 double play.
So far tonight, lots of ground ball outs. Well, that's what Jake Arrieta has been doing so well this year. In fact, the Phillies have been doing it all of July. Something I was kind of checking out. Wasn't always their story all season long. More of a 50-50 fly ball to ground ball team. Here in the month of July, they have recorded 113 groundouts coming in to tonight's start. That's 3rd most in the month of July, and obviously Arrieta getting it done tonight. Now 9 groundouts, or I should say 9 outs on the ground.
Stay tuned for the Ram game break. 7th inning. Garrett Cooper takes a called strike. If you're a position player, you like your pitcher being that vocal? You okay with it?
I think Jake is a leader. Either way you look at it, it burns inside him. Whether he's a starter, whether he's a position player or a center fielder, he would be the way he is. Absolutely needs to be vocal.
And when he throws the pitches that get the ground balls, he wants to make sure guys are in their place. 9 pitches. Get through the 5th. for Wei and Chen. He has been superb. The lines on both getting outs in two different ways, as Holly mentioned before. Arrieta with the ground balls and Wei and Chen with the strikeouts. And for Chen, the 8 strikeouts, a new season high. He had 6 against the Washington Nationals back in May. And if he keeps this up, he'll be keeping a close eye on his career mark, 12, which he has done twice in his career.
I'll tell you what, the Phillies lineup upside down, inside out. That's that second time through. 6 of the 8 strikeouts on the evening. Looking. A lot of arms going up in the air, a lot of check swings, and a high degree of uncertainty right now with this Phillies lineup with where Chen is at. Hitters thinking in, he's going away. He's thinking fastball, they're thinking curveball.
Rhys Hoskins, Trevor Plouffe, and Carlos Santana due up in the 6th. The only run came back in the 2nd inning on an RBI double by Aaron Altair. Strike 2. Hoskins flew out in the 1st inning, walked in the 3rd. The only walk for Chen so far tonight. Off the edge, 2-2.
No, not much. It's exactly where he wanted to put it. In fact, that's where his miss was. Gets all the way back to the corner. He gets the strikeout, or again a weak contact. He misses. He just misses by a close margin.
Grounded to Riddle, and he'll make the play. Would have been an unorthodox way to get to it. That's why you see the smirk.
I think there was a tricky hop in there.
I think you're right.
I'll tell you what, Riddle's rhythm was broken. He was venturing over into the hole and kind of stops in his tracks right there as that ball bounces back to where he was. Nice job of field and throw. Quickly he gets rid of this ball. From his heels, by the way.
It's like he wanted to play it on the backhand, and it took a little bit of a turn, and he had to play it on the forehand. It's not like I'm doing Wimbledon play-by-play here, but I guess you get where I'm going. 1 out for Trevor Plouffe, who was struck out twice tonight. 2 of the 8 for Chen. Won't strike out here. Instead, a lazy fly ball out to Anderson in right for out number 2. I'm just looking through the game logs here, trying to jog my memory. Maybe that start against the Nationals on May 26th, 7 1/3, 2 walks, rather 6 strikeouts. Other than that, this is, in my memory, probably the best Chen has looked all year.
Well, and I think what's been most impressive about tonight, in regards to that Nats start, the Nats start, he was good from start to finish. It was like, boy, Chen got into a rhythm early, and boy, oh boy, did he blow right through this game. Tonight, that was not the case. He was out of gear. In fact, the first out of the game was a 400-foot out to center field. Now, maybe, just maybe, that's where his confidence lies at home as opposed to on the road. You know, sometimes you give up a few of those, and they leave the yard. Out here at Marlins Park, we're talking exit velocity, first time through. He is settled in, no doubt, and is virtually, well, dare I say, unhittable right now. I mean, the way he's striking out these Phillies left and right. And just about every hitter's in an 0-2-1-2 count. In fact, as I mentioned, 7 of the first 8 hitters, exit velocities of 95 miles an hour. We have not seen that since.
Sinking in right, Anderson lays out. He'll just smother it, keep it in front. And it's a base hit for Carlos Santana.
Now, great effort by BA, good read, everything he's got. This ball, and as an outfielder, it's not hit hard, so you can kind of put everything you've got into trying to make a catch because you know it's not going to get past you. And this is where you factor in Santana's running. He's not a guy who's going to try to take the extra base. This is either you make the catch or you pick it up and throw it in with a 2-out single.
It looked like at the last minute he didn't even attempt to make the catch. Kind of flipped the glove over to keep it in front of him.
And again, that ball doesn't get too far by him, even if he doesn't get much on it. That's why you're willing to leave your feet. That's, again, understanding the in-game situations. He's doing a very nice job out in right field this season. Now, you do that with Hernandez, you got to be a little bit more careful. Here's a look. Just, again, knowing the situation and being willing to do it. Just try to keep the ball in front. A couple of the faster guys on the Phillies, you probably don't leave your feet.
That base hit put an end to a string of 10 straight retired by Wei-Yin Chen. 1 on and 2 out for Scott Kingery. Singled in the second inning, came around to score the lone Phillies run, and struck out in the fourth. Off the edge, 2 balls and a strike. Popped up, Castro out. And he will make the play. Chen is through 6. But the Marlins trail it by 1. A 1-0 Marlins deficit, however. That's the line. See him kind of wincing a little bit. We saw it going to break him off the mound. Clearly not sure exactly what it was, what it is, if it's serious or not. But he did get some tugs as that one is lined to Hernandez for the first out here in the bottom of the 6th. Javier is up. Chen would be due up 3rd in the inning. And Derek Dietrich has moved into the on-deck circle with Cameron Maben stepping in. Odubel Herrera takes over in center field, and that moves Aaron Altair from center to right. Out of the game is Trevor Plouffe. Maben a base hit in the 3rd and then was picked off of first base. It's a little low, a ball and no strikes.
Now Maben, he has one of the best at bats against Arrieta tonight. He jumped on a first pitch slider, lined it into left. Much of the action, hard or not, has been on the ground. He's coming in. Marlins, one of the top offenses in baseball, hitting the ball on the ground. You've got to find their holes a lot of times for success. For Arrieta, that has been his story this season. He is getting ground balls at, well, dare I say, a Cy Young pace. Where I'm going, go back to his Cy Young season. 22-win season with the Cubs. 2015, he's got similar ground ball rates.
One-out walk of Maben. Catch baseball's biggest stars for an unforgettable show from the nation's capital. The Major League Baseball All-Star Game Tuesday at 7:30 p.m. Eastern, only on Fox, or stream it live on the Fox Sports app. Well, Arrieta has been an all-star in his career. It was in the 2016 season. We know that JT Realmuto will be there. And that 2016 season was the year after Arrieta won the Cy Young. To get back to your point, another check there on Maben. And it was almost unfair how great he was that year.
Right.
Because
well,
he set the bar too high.
Well, I'll tell you what. He aced out a few guys. If I remember correctly, Zach Greinke had one heck of a season with the Los Angeles Dodgers. But anybody who saw Arrieta in the second half of 15, I mean, it was ridiculous. I mean, nobody was getting a hit against him. By the way, everything that you see tonight at about 5 miles an hour. I mean, It was 97, 98 miles an hour. His cutter was at 93, 94. It almost felt unfair, but well deserved in winning the Cy Young Award, no doubt. An incredible, incredible second half.
Ball and no strikes to Derek Dietrich, who hits here for Chen. Yeah, if you're Zach Greinke that year, if you had a 1.66 ERA,
not good enough.
222 and 2/3 innings,
wasn't good enough.
200 strikeouts, and 40 walks, and that's not good enough to win a Cy Young.
Not even close. Not even close. I'm telling you. It was just, like I said, anybody inside Chicago, anybody around the area that saw Arrieta pitch, everything. I mean, it was as dominant as anything I have ever seen in my life. I never played with anybody that dominant for that extended period of time.
Right.
It was almost unfair what he was doing to lineups. You know, by the way, that was a year in which that division had the Cardinals, the Pirates, and the Cubs. I believe all were above 95 wins.
Dietrich takes low. Yeah, the Cardinals won 100, the Pirates won 98, and the Cubs won 97.
Yeah, there you go. So it was 97 and above. I knew it was the upper 90s.
Right.
So that's who he was doing this against, by the way. So I mean, you know, most of these starts are against those two teams. For Dietrich, 2 for 12 this season, pinch hitting. 17 for 68 in his career. Does have 11 extra base hits, including 3 home runs.
This is a line shot, right field, and that one is off the top of the wall. Maben being waved around third. Here comes the throw, and got him. Alfaro somehow applied the tag on Maben. Dietrich makes it to second base, but there are 2 outs.
Wow, this is a bang-bang play at the plate. Let's take another look. Maben's trying to get just past the tag, and he gets him on the left calf. Almost loses his balance there. And watch the tag. Knocks that left leg out just a bit. Just misses tying up this ball game. That's a tough send.
Well, Dietrich didn't miss a home run by much. Instead, it's his 18th double of the season. This is how close it came to a home run. Oof.
It's the padding. That's it. It gets right over the top of that padding. Marlins are up 2-1. Great swing of the bat by Dietz. Off the bench. Got a pitch up in the zone. I'll tell you what, the Philadelphia Phillies ran that relay about as perfectly as you can. 9-6-2 if you're scoring at home.
Ball and a strike to Castro.
Probably. Well, the Phillies people will be talking about it. Certainly, I'm going to do my best to bring it up. They just took Plouffe out of the ballgame, by the way, who was making his first start in the outfield in nearly 6 years. See Cameron Maybin look right back there. I don't think it necessarily cost him anything. Didn't look like he slowed down as he looked back. Missed it by just a step. Yeah, they ended up moving Herrera obviously into center field, getting him into the ball game, and Altair moved over to right, their usual right fielder. There you go. Plouffe's still out there. I bet that's a run for the Marlins.
A chance for Castro, who had the walk-off hit on Wednesday, to tie this game. This one is chopped foul. It's still 2 balls and 2 strikes. Brad Ziegler in the background, Javi Guerra in the foreground. 6 terrific innings from Wei-Yin Chen. This one is popped up. Herrera in center. And the inning is over. Pinch hit double for Dietrich, but a play at the plate keeps the Marlins off the board.
We move to the top of the 7th inning.
Javi Guerra takes over for the Marlins after 6 innings of work from Wei-Yin Chen. A walk and 8 strikeouts. And now Guerra pitching for the 3rd time at the big league level. Called up a few days ago. 12 appearances with New Orleans, 3-0, 16 2/3 innings, no runs, 5 saves in 6 opportunities. Here he will face Alfaro, Franco, and Altair. Alfaro and Altair connecting on the 9-6-2 putout that kept the Marlins off the board in the bottom of the 6th. And a strike to Alfaro. Walk and a strikeout for him. Mentioned those 12 appearances with New Orleans. The first 11 were scoreless, and then the 1 unearned run in the last outing that he pitched before being called up. Tehran Guerrero, one of the arms in the Marlins bullpen. A little bit of news on him. Both he and Sandy Alcantara long tossing at this point, with Guerrero working his way back from a back injury and Alcantara an infection in his arm.
Guerrero's done a nice job since being recalled. 3 strikeouts, no walks. Four-seam fastball, cut fastball. You see the elevated one there at 94. Strikeout number 4 on his season. First out here in the 7th. Nice job elevating.
Here is Maikel Franco. Couple of fly ball outs. Maybe 3. Castro in shallow right center to make the play. 2 away. That will bring up Aaron Altair, whose RBI double in the 2nd inning. Gave the Phillies their only run, the only run of the night. Also struck out in the 5th inning, but as Holly pointed out, moving over to right field and perfect timing for it from center to right in the last half inning. Fielding a ball off the right center field wall. Threw it in to Kingery, who threw a strike to Alfaro, who applied the tag to keep the Marlins from evening up the ball game. Chase upstairs, a ball and 2 strikes.
1-2.
Well, the double for Altair should really come as no surprise. 208 major league hits and 93 of them for extra bases, about 45%. However, the slugging percentage at the moment sits at .310, 6 homers and 33 RBIs. Count full to Altair. And he struck him out, 93 miles an hour, top of the zone. 2 strikeouts in the inning for Guerra. Time to stretch at Marlins Park.
I'm Craig Minervini. Welcome to our Ram game break here in the middle of the 7th inning. Well, at home, and yes, he looked like he was home again. Wei-Yin Chen Don Mattingly, before the game, fielded a question from a reporter saying, have you considered pitching Chen just at home? Don smirked. He can't always do that, but man, has he been great at home. Tonight, 6 innings, just the 1 run, 5 hits. He comes out of the ball game doing a great job and giving the Marlins a chance, as he has really all year long at home. Now, of course, the key for Chen is just take some of that to the road and give the Marlins more of a shot in the road. His ERA over 10 there. Big story around baseball. It does have a Philadelphia-Philly connection, although lately we've seen it with the Dodgers. He's a great Philly. He's a world champion, and they love him there. California born, but made his name in Philadelphia. Chase Utley announcing his retirement. Some outstanding work at second base. Of course, that great left-handed power hitter in the Phillies' really heyday years in recent times, late 2000s into the 2010s, that era. A great second baseman as well, guys, defensively, and also the glue of that Phillies team. Chase Utley announcing his retirement tonight. That is the big story from around baseball. This has been your Ram Game Break.
The all-new Ram 1500, built to serve. Well-qualified lessees of competitive vehicles get a low-mileage lease on the 2018 Ram 1500 for $189 a month.
Craig, thanks. Paul Severino, Todd Hollinsworth back with you as we move to the bottom of the 7th inning. Yeah, former Philadelphia Philly Chase Utley announcing his retirement. A 6-time All-Star, of course, won a World Series with the Phillies in 2008. Has been with the Dodgers the last few years. And again, part of that nucleus between Utley and Rollins and Howard. Of course, Roy Halladay and Cliff Lee, all part of that group that won a World Series in 2008. Got to the World Series in 2009, lost to the New York Yankees. And a guy who played in over 1,900 games, Chase Utley, will call it a career at the end of the 2018 season.
Interesting. I was so curious that I think I kind of came up with my own answer as we move to the bottom of the 7th inning. I thought the timing was just very interesting to me. Why now? All right, Chase Utley's. I know he hasn't been nearly as productive with the Los Angeles Dodgers. You know, when he got off to a great start this season, obviously some time has been taken away circumstantially because of the production that they've been getting from others, but pulled up the schedule, right? So, oh, there you go. Anyway, ground ball to short. Out number 1 here in the bottom of the 7th. I guess what I'm getting at is you've got the All-Star game, and the Los Angeles Dodgers, interestingly enough, are heading out on a road trip. Where do you think they're going?
Philadelphia.
Yeah, well, they're going to go to Milwaukee first, and then they're going into Philly for 3. So I thought, well, maybe that's where this is all going. So there you go. The Philadelphia Phillies will be taking on Los Angeles Dodgers, the 23rd, 24th, and 25th in Philadelphia. So now it all makes more sense. And you didn't think that at all, like when he announced it today. Like I heard, rumors that this was going on. I just thought, well, that's interesting. Why today?
Yeah. Usually it's like I'm retiring now.
Well,
because I'm going to get released. Well, sometimes you'll hear that.
Sure.
But yeah, I mean,
or at the beginning of the season, this is going to be my last year. Yeah,
sure.
David Ortiz, if you will, so that saying that you've got to have a send-off, but I mean, I could not figure out today why in the world today was the day.
That not Chase Utley. That much we can report. Just a guy wearing his shirt. Did you play against Chase, though? You must have crossed paths, right? He started in 03.
That's a good question. Then I definitely did.
He would strike me as a guy that you hate to play against him, but you would love to play with him.
Oh. I think there was a lot of respect for him around the game. I think the way that he goes about his business, I know some people might misinterpret that. There's definitely some conversation about things that happened in his recent past about slides at second base and different things of that nature. But there's a healthy respect for how he went about his business. I don't know. I don't know about that. I think most guys, myself included, certainly respected the way that he went about his business. I don't believe that there was an ounce of dirty in him, like he was never looking to hurt anybody. Right. The idea is that he was never going to back down. I mean, I would expect it from myself. I would expect it from my teammates. I suppose I would expect it from my opposition as well.
Well, I guess that was my roundabout way of saying that you respect the heck out of the guy.
Oh yeah.
Well, I mean?
And again,
because he's going to play a hard-nosed brand of baseball, you know you're going to get everything he's got for the 3 or 4 days that you play him. It's going to be a pain in the neck. but certainly a guy that you'd love to have in a foxhole with.
Well, and those are the guys that you like to do battle with. Those are the guys you want to go head-to-head against. I mean, you don't want, at least for me, I always liked it that way. You know, the tougher they were, that made for great competition and certainly made for exciting ball games.
Of course, his role has changed quite a bit over the years. A guy who typically in the 500 to 600 at-bat range last few years. 130 at-bats this year, 309 at-bats last year as JT Realmuto strikes out for the second out here in the 7th inning. Time for T-Mobile's Hats Off for Heroes, and tonight we focus in on Ian Kennedy, who is a supporter of the VFW and USO, hosting military personnel with tickets and gift bags at Royals home games, and a Folds of Honor finalist. So Ian Kennedy that we focus in on today. Our hats off to heroes. 2 outs for Justin Bohr, who takes a called strike.
A couple of pretty nice at bats for JB tonight. Line drive base hit to center field, first time up. He walked in the 5th.
No-2 pitch to Bohr is just a little outside, 1-2. Well, with the way that Arrieta has been pitching tonight, it's a lot like it was for him in the early part of the season. 6-1 with a 2.19 ERA from when he began the season, which happened to be against the Marlins, all the way through his May 29th start, but was 0-4 with a 6.16 ERA over his next 6. Coming off a game against the Pittsburgh Pirates where he got his first win since May 29th. But I'll tell you what, the way that the Marlins have been playing recently at home, 1 run isn't much if you're the Phillies. Drew Steckenrider up after a 1-2-3 inning from Javi Guerra in the 7th. 3 walk-offs in the last 10 games for the Marlins. And outside, that is a heck of an at-bat. Some really close pitches there for Justin Bohr, but he works the 2-out walk, and Bohr has also made a nice defensive play. So nice that it's the Bonefish Grill fresh catch of the day.
And no easy task catching one right over the top of your head. He does a nice job of giving himself an opportunity to reach out. Never easy to do. I tell you, JB's done a pretty decent job over there at first base over the last couple of months.
Martin Prado takes a look at the ball outside. A couple of ground ball double plays tonight for Prado. This one slapped out to right field. Altair is there. And 7 innings of work tonight for Arrieta. 1-0. here at Marlins Park to the top of the 8th inning. Paul Severino, Todd Hollinsworth, as Nick Williams will pinch hit for Jake Arrieta, face Javi Guerra in his second inning of work out of the Marlins pen. So the day done for Jake Arrieta. 7 strong innings, scattering 3 hits. Help of a couple of double play balls.
Guerra needs to be heads up here. Williams is pinch hitting. He is the National League's leading pitch hitter. He's 10 for 21 on the season, 476. That's right, 10 for 21. He's got 3 homers, 8 RBIs. In his career, 12 for 24.
There's a 2-1 from Guerra. Left field, Cooper near the line and into foul territory for the first out of the 8th.
Join the Marlins Foundation and Fox Sports Florida for the 13th annual fantasy auction powered by South Florida Ford. Mark your calendar for July 26th for an opportunity to bid on autographed memorabilia and unique experiences. For more information, visit marlins.com/fantasy.
Looking forward to that. Again, the auction bundles are on sale now. Top of the order here, Cesar Hernandez. Swings through one, and it's 0-1. Base hit for Hernandez was thrown out, trying to stretch it into a double back in the 3rd. And the last of the 8 strikeouts tonight for Wei-Yin Chen. Well, we know Arrieta's done now, so maybe that's a bit of a sigh of relief for the Marlins offense. We'll see. For, as good as the bullpen has been for the Philadelphia Phillies, a 1.80 ERA over the last 12 games. Whoever comes in to pitch is not Jake Arrieta. Have you been in spots like that before, where it's like it doesn't matter who it is? It could be Bob Gibson coming out. It's not the guy that's been keeping us off the scoreboard tonight.
A different perspective. I mean, he only faced 2 over the minimum. His defense helped him out a little bit. But a couple of double play ground balls. In fact, that's what he did best, was get the ground out tonight. 11 of them. He picked up 4 outs unconventionally to get to that 2 over the minimum. And it was where 2 double play ground balls. He picked off a guy and got the out at home on the relay, 9-6-2 for another out.
Three hits, 3 walks, 3 strikeouts for Jake Arrieta. As Hernandez works the 1-out walk here in the 8th.
Yeah, no surprise there. Hernandez 5th in the National League in reaching base now for the 157th time. He's hanging out with guys like Goldschmidt, Markakis, Votto, and Freeman. For the 2nd time tonight.
Rhys Hoskins now. Takes ball 1 from Guerra. Flew out the 1st, walked in the 3rd, and grounded out in the 6th. Hoskins with the 14 home runs, 56 RBIs, 21 doubles this year. The slugging percentage right now sits at .462. He entered the day with the lowest slugging percentage for any team leader in the National League, which means that .462, best for the Phillies. Everybody else's best is way better than that. And yet somehow Phillies are in first place in this division. Right field line giving chase is Anderson, but that will reach the seats.
Well, you know what that means in baseball terms, right? He'll probably win the home run derby.
Right.
He'll get that front foot down, he'll get on time, and he'll start hitting long home runs. Next thing you'll be going, wait, what? Home run derby? Champion? There you go.
Ball and 2 strikes. This is outside 2-2. Three Marlins on the left side of second base. As Hoskins is called out on strikes for the second out of the 8th and the 3rd strikeout for Guerra. The 5 outs that he has recorded.
A nice job dropping in a 12-6 breaking ball. Starts out at the thighs, ends up at or below the knees. Hoskins cannot pull the trigger.
So here is Odubel Herrera. He's getting a day off today. He's hit in 11 straight games against the Marlins, so the .440 average against Miami this season should come as no surprise. Swings at the first pitch and fouls it back, 0-1. 16 home runs, 52 RBIs this year for Herrera. The ribbies, most among major league center fielders, and the home runs, the only guys with more, Mike Trout of the Angels and Charlie Blackmon of the Rockies. The unorthodox setup for Herrera. Fouls another one back, 0-2. Herrera earlier this year had a 45-game on-base streak. That was snapped in May. And now it's not even the longest going. Shin-Soo Choo has reached base again tonight. That's 49 straight games on base for Shin-Soo Choo.
Happy birthday to him.
Absolutely. Celebrating his birthday in Baltimore tonight. Everybody's chasing Ted Williams. 1949, reached base in 84 straight games. To Herrera is fouled off. Well, 84 for Williams is the major league record. Joe DiMaggio in 1941, the year that he won the MVP, had the 56-game hit streak. Reached base in 74 straight games. And then, of course, more Ted Williams. 74 straight games. 1941 into 42. Marlins CEO Derek Jeter, 57 straight games, spanning 1998 and 1999. That one gets by Real Muto. He'll track it down at the backstop, throws, and that one kicks off of Herrera. 2 on and 2 out after the strikeout. And either wild pitch or pass ball, however they score it.
Now the 12-6 breaking ball gets all the way to the ground and through the legs of JT Real Muto. It's going to go as a wild pitch. Right through the wickets. A little kick back off the wall, but not enough. JT in desperation tries to sidearm it. Almost as if Herrera knew it was coming. He was probably reading Bohr. I always thought it was interesting. Every now and again you see somebody put their hands over their helmet. It's like, why are you putting your hands over your helmet? If anything, you should tuck your hands into your helmet.
Well, you know who had a knack for that? It was like reading the eyes of the fielder who's in front of him. Chase Utley.
Absolutely. No, that's it. Believe me, that's a skill. You do it. I used to do it all the time. Going into third base, you kind of read the throw. A lot of times you'd get in the way of the throw so that the ball would hit you and obviously ricochet away. Watch your error, though. He knows this ball's coming. Putting his hands over the one part of his body that's covered.
I think he's trying to protect the hair.
But maybe. It certainly creates a little bit of a mess here. Top of the 8th. Carlos Santana, one thing he's been doing well, hitting with runners in scoring position since May 9th, .375.
This one chopped wide of the first base back. Jose David Flores makes the play. It's 2 balls and 2 strikes to Santana. Ben Meyer up for the Marlins in their pen. Hernandez the runner at second, and Odubel Herrera the runner at first. Inside, count runs full. Both runners will get a head start. Scott Kingery waits on deck.
Playing him to pull on the infield, slightly the other way in the outfield.
Marlins need to get 4 outs in this inning to retire the Phillies after the strikeout and wild pitch extended the inning. Three and 2, and picked at first by Bohr. Oh man, what a few weeks he's had over at first base, and what a night tonight. In foul ground over his shoulder, and then the backhand play there on the rocket off the bat from Carlos Santana. We go to the bottom of the 8th. With a 1-0 lead as the Marlins down to their last 6 offensive outs tonight. Bring your pup out to Marlins Park tomorrow for Bark at the Park, presented by Tito's Handmade Vodka. Purchase your tickets today at marlins.com/bark. A portion of the proceeds benefit the Humane Society of Broward County. See how much bark the Marlins have tonight against Victor Arano out of the bullpen, his 33rd game. after 7 strong innings of work from Jake Arrieta, but now a little change of pace, and we'll see if this sparks the Marlins offense with Cooper to lead off, and then JT Riddle and Cameron Maben. Well, the Phillies pen a 1.80 ERA as a group the last 12 games, and keep in mind 2 walk-off losses to the New York Mets. And it was Arano that gave up the walk-off home run. Wilmer Flores the other day. Outside. Did he go? He did, says the first base umpire, Eric Cooper. So 1-1 to the other Cooper, Garrett Cooper, who struck out and grounded out tonight. Tap foul, 1-2.
Job by Cooper on the 1-2 pitch. From Morano, you're going to see a 4-seam fastball, sinker, slider. Good arm, 93-94. Keeps the ball down generally.
One-two on the way to Cooper. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Mentioned the walk-off home run that Arano allowed a few days ago against the New York Mets. He's only allowed 2 home runs in 43 2/3 career innings.
Both those home runs have come on his 4-seam fastball.
Cooper pops this one up. Right field, it'll be Altair for the first out. One guy that may not be available, no official word of course, but Sir Anthony Dominguez. 1 inning each of the last couple of days. He hasn't pitched in 3 straight yet this year. He's on a 10-inning scoreless streak. A closer of the Philadelphia Phillies. But it's Arano here in the 8th. A ball and no strikes to JT Riddle.
Now Riddle 0 for 2 tonight, lined out his last time up to second.
Riddle had his 6-game hit streak snapped on Wednesday, but coming into tonight, over the course of his last 16 games, hitting .339. He's been hot for the Marlins. 3 doubles, 2 triples, 2 homers, 10 RBIs in that span. Looking to get something going here in the 8th with Bearclaw on the left, Ziegler on the right. Likely dependent on the situation for who pitches the 9th inning.
Riddle certainly capable of tying up this game with 1 swing of the bat. We've seen some more power this season. Center field, left center field.
This one to second, and there are 2 away. Two outs for Cameron Maben, who's reached base twice. A base hit in the 3rd inning and walked in the 6th. However, he was picked off in inning number 3 and tried to come around on the Derek Dietrich pinch hit double. But Altair fielded it off the top of the wall, off the padding. I mean, that thing was less than a foot from being a 2-run home run. Altair got it into Kingery, who threw home to Alfaro, who tagged the leg of Maben. has really been the best scoring opportunity for the Marlins in this ball game. Well, what kind of was a storyline over the course of the last week or so? Last 7 games for the Marlins, they've left 63 runners on base. They left 28 men on base in the series against Milwaukee alone. Tonight, 0 for 1 with runners in scoring position and 2 men left on. So the scoring opportunities against Jake Arrieta, and now here in the 8th inning with Arano, very precious. Marlins have had a hard time getting runners in scoring position. In fact, they've only had a couple of guys touch second base. Maben on the way by on Dietrich's double, and Dietrich doubling. That's it. Payoff pitch to Maben. Did he go? No, he did not. Maben works the walk. On base for the 3rd time tonight, and that will bring up Miguel Rojas to pinch hit. There is ball 4. Nice job by Maben holding up there. Makes his way over to first base. In steps Miguel Rojas. Opportunity to pinch hit here. Bottom of the 8th, 2 for 6 on the season. You see his seasonal numbers. Batting average starting to climb. 7 homers, 32 RBIs. In his career, 10 for 40. Does have 6 RBIs as a pinch hitter. Rojas has hit in 5 straight games against the Phillies. He takes outside, a ball and no strikes. This is kind of interesting. We know how well Rojas goes the other way. In fact, thinks it all the time. Philadelphia Phillies on the infield are giving him the right side. Side of Santana. Hernandez, he just moved over a couple of steps, but was playing more towards second base. You see the size of his favorite hole. Wide open. Fouled back, a ball and 2 strikes. You know, I'd ask the question, any thoughts of running? But Alfaro leads all big league catchers with 17 runners thrown out this season. Now that's in part because most of the opposition try to run on the Philly starters. Some of the higher leg kicks and slower times to home plate. Rojas down swinging, and this game moves to the 9th inning. A 1-run ball game here in Miami. by Kubota. For more information or to find a Kubota dealer near you, go to gokubota.com and by your South Florida Honda dealers. An overhead shot of Marlins Park. Nice inside Marlins Park tonight. Roof is closed. Some rain in the area in the afternoon. Brad Ziegler takes over his 46th game. He'll face Scott Kingery and then Jorge Alfaro and Mike Franco and try to keep this at a 1-0 deficit for the bottom of the 9th inning and the top of the order for the Marlins.
Well, he's the right man for the job. 10 consecutive scoreless innings over his last 11 games going back to June 24th. Yeah, it's kind of like next man up in this Marlins bullpen. First, Claw starts with it. Steckenrider does it. Now it's Ziegler's turn for the consecutive scoreless inning streak. 19 of his last 20 appearances have been scoreless. .43 ERA, and boy oh boy, movement on his pitches is back.
Hey, ground ball right back to Ziegler, and Kingery is retired. Well, watch every out-of-market regular season game live or on demand at home, in the office, or on the go with MLB.tv. Your subscription includes MLB at Bat Premium, allowing you to watch live baseball on your favorite supported devices. Blackout and other restrictions apply. Visit MLB.tv for details. Six strong innings for Wei-Yin Chen. 5 hits, a run, a walk, and a season-high 8 strikeouts. 2 innings of work from Javi Guerra. He struck out 4. And now Ziegler with 1 out in the 9th inning. Behind in the count, a ball to no strikes to Jorge Alfaro. And this one to third. Corrado makes the play. Well, the grounds crew is going to have a fun time tonight, replacing all the divots in the infield. There have been a lot of ground balls tonight as Pat Neshek loosens. Again, he'll get the top of the order for Miami. Starlin Castro, who had the walk-off base hit on Wednesday, as Franco fouls that one off the back of his right shoulder. How about that?
Gets a little bit of home plate there and jumps up and catches him on the back of the shoulder. Tell you what, he showed up in Marlins Park ready to swing the bat tonight.
Did he ever? 2-0 Phillies.
Now, I don't want to say he was due. It was just the approach that he's taken all night long. He's basically been swinging at everything. He certainly came in with outstanding numbers. We told you about him. 371 entering this ballgame in the month of July. 2 home runs, 7 RBIs. One of the hot hitters in this Phillies lineup. There have been many of them. Tell you what, he goes down and gets this. Gives the Phillies that little bit of insurance they're looking for. Not a terrible pitch. That's at the knees, maybe even a little bit below. Clears out that front side. Elevates a sinking fastball. My goodness.
On the ground, left side, Riddle on the run. And Altair will reach. He gets by Bohr, but not far enough for Altair to advance. For Ziegler, that was the 7th home run allowed this year.
Yeah, but the first in a little while.
Absolutely. Franco continues to hurt the Marlins. In his career, the 8th home run against Miami and 35 RBIs in this, his 53rd game. Here's Andrew Knapp to pinch hit as he takes the ball outside.
Well, Knapp 2 for 11 pinch hitting this season. 182. He did hit a 13th inning walk-off. It's Justin Miller of the Nationals on July 1st. It's fresh in his mind, I'm sure.
Yeah, the home run allowed by Ziegler, the first since June 23rd in Colorado. Prior to that, in Arizona. Now this one lined down the right field line. Anderson will get to it and gets it in quickly. They throw back and they got him.
Yeah, they did.
Anderson hit Riddle in the middle of the diamond, and off of first a little bit too much was Knapp. They tag him out for out number 3. We go to the bottom of the 9th. Light refreshing finish is how the top of this inning ended, as he gets to it down the right field line, gets rid of it quick, and then what happened?
Well, you're not worried about a throw home. You think in that situation, the guy coming around third base is that you're concerning yourself with. You're not here at the major league level. That's not the way that it works. You see where Bohr's at. That cut is to the middle of the infield to keep Knapp at first base. He does just that, but his throw is so strong and it's got so much behind it. Knapp gets caught in no man's land. JT Riddle comes across the diamond, cuts it off, quick fire over there to Bohr and gets them out of this inning. Great job right there. That's why you want to see that intensity from your outfielders. When they field the ball, you always want to be thinking strong throw back to the infield. The faster you get it to those guys, they've got an opportunity to do things with the baseball. Guy makes too big a turnaround first, second, third, you can make a play.
Pat Neshek with 8 career saves will get the nod tonight. Again, it's Sir Anthony Dominguez, the usual closer for the Philadelphia Phillies, but he's worked the last 2 games and he hasn't worked 3 in a row yet this year. So it is Neshek who delivers the first pitch to Starlin Castro, in there for a called strike. Again, top of the order, Castro, Anderson, and Real Muto. You saw the small numbers for Neshek this year.
I think he just got back.
He did.
I believe.
Yep.
Beginning of the month.
Right shoulder strain at the end of spring training, so he made his season debut on the 1st of July.
He's got 8 career innings against the Marlins, 1.13 ERA. It's over 10 games. See the unorthodox delivery from Neshek. One of the better relievers last year in all of baseball. 1.59 ERA in 2017. To the All-Star game, in fact.
Popped up right side. And Hernandez for the first out. The guys getting set. Craig, Tommy, Nelly, for the WB Mason Marlins live post-game show coming up at the conclusion of this one. Will it be another Marlins walk-off win? If so, they are running out of time, down by 2 with 1 out in the 9th. Strike to Brian Anderson, who was grounded out 3 times tonight, all to the left side of the infield. Oh, and 2. Boy, between Neshek this inning, Ziegler in the top of this inning, the only guy we're missing is like Paul Bird.
Kent Colby?
Yeah. Just those funky deliveries. And again, both effective in their own way. Anderson pokes one out to right field, but it will stay up for Altair, who may have been dealing with the lights for out number 2.
Well, it's been that kind of night. There have been a whole lot of hard hit balls off the bats of the Marlins. The ones that have, most of the time, have been caught.
Last chance for Miami is JT Realmuto. And he takes a called strike. Fly ball, a ground out, and a strikeout tonight.
Well, certainly capable of doing something right here, but in JT's situation, he's got to think about getting on base. He's got to give JB, Justin Bourne, in the on-deck circle an opportunity. Ideally, a walk works, base hit, but he will think, you know, toning down his swing. Just got to find a way to get on any way he can.
One ball and 2 strikes. Right field line, foul. There's one at bat between these two. Realmuto 0 for 1. Both starters were terrific in this ball game. 7 innings of work from Jake Arrieta, scattered 3 hits. 6 innings from Chen with 8 strikeouts. JT out to center, and Odubel Herrera puts it away as the Phillies shut out the Marlins tonight by a final count of 2-0 in the opener of this 3-game series, which leads us to the All-Star break. Phillies starter a little bit better than Chen tonight, who had the 8 strikeouts to 6. But it is the first place Phils who take the opener. They have won 4 of the 7 games against the Marlins.